Hello, jumbo to our regular viewers, and a very warm welcome to the Mara Triangle. My name has not changed. David is my name, and on camera with me is Manu. Good afternoon. I like when Manu does that. And one day I hope to become a cameraman or camera operator. Manu, do you like us to swap one day? Manu thinks one day we are going to swap roles. I'll be where he is and I'll be sitting right here. So while we had just boys and girls, kids from British international schools in Brussels, and now we are back to oral view regular viewers. Remember, as usual, hashtag Safari Live for any questions or comments, and we want to start showing you our beautiful sky of the Mara Triangle. I'm in the Sausage Republic. I'm sure all of you are familiar with my Sausage Republic, looking for them. And we are entering the second week, and they have been missing. And the only thing we have to do is to keep coming here. Now, the good thing we have, there's buffaloes out there, and we all know the wildebeest or the migration is all gone. It is, or they are in Tanzania. So until maybe when the migration will come back, life will be easier for us. But having said that, seeing buffaloes, we always know chances are we might see my most favorite pride, the sausage tree. Now, as I keep searching for them, we'll have Rusty saying hello to you, and maybe he could be having some lions.
We have the Nkuhumas here. For all of those who do not know who they are a resident pride of lions that we have named Nkuhuma. Now, they are numbering. Right now, we have 6, 7 in camera view and 3 out of camera view that we can see, but are obviously to the left-hand side. We will stay with the ones closer to us, and they are what we call flat cat. It's still very warm here. The sun is behind the cloud, but it is quite intense, and I'm sure the lions feel it more than we do. My skin feels like leather under the sun, so it is not me. So yes, my name is Rusty, if you do not know, and behind the camera is Craig. He is the cameraman for the afternoon. Just by chance we came along here and found the tracks. They were seen this morning, but they had moved from their previous location. And it was a surprise because it was very warm, and where they were before was very comfortable for them, right next to a watering hole. But then as it obviously got warmer, there was a bit of cloud this morning, and looked like there was going to be rain, but that was... we were wishing for too much. Yeah. And the clouds dissipated and the heat came through. So I think they got as far as here and collapsed. They're actually not too far from Twin Dams, which some of you may know. It is a dam that is not too far from here, but it has got a little bit of water still in it from the rain that is collected from the rain in the last few months. But we are hoping for them to be moving in the next half an hour, 45 minutes down through the water, as it cools down to quench their thirst, and then they'll probably move off to hunt. As far as we know, they have not killed anything recently, or if they have, it might have been something very small. The one we're looking at now that is fast asleep with a slightly large belly, we're not too sure who she is, but having a belly that big, either she's eaten something very small and nobody else got to have it, or she might be carrying a little gift, a couple of little gifts. She's still early in her pregnancy, if anything, or she might have just eaten something. I'm not too sure. It's quite hard to tell when they're lying down. And her nipples aren't even swollen, so she's not too close. Anyway, I may be completely wrong, but she is a female lion, and female lions do get pregnant. I think that's not a surprise to anybody. But we will keep tabs on her. Rosalind, do buffalo kill lions? That is correct, they do. Not often straight off, but if lions hunt buffalo, as these ones do, if everyone knows what a buffalo looks like, they have these very large curved horns and a lot of weight behind them. And they're about the size of a large cow, and with a very nasty attitude. So lions, if they end up in the way of them, if they get hooked by them or trampled by them, yes, they can be killed, but obviously not straight off unless it hurts a vital organ in the body, if the horn punches the skin. But otherwise, the lions are pretty smart, and if they are taught from their parents on how to hunt buffalo, they will be very successful and avoid being killed at all costs, but accidents do happen. Young cubs, I have known a den site where I used to work that they heard a buffalo went through the den site, and there were cubs inside there, and a few days later there was none. So we are pretty sure they were flattened. Sorry, that's a wrong word. Pretty sure they were killed by the buffalo. Lancy, if I get that correct, are there any cubs here? There are sub-adults. We have no cubs on this pride. We believe there is some stories out about Amber Eyes, I believe, might have cubs, but she might also be, we saw her mating the other, or she was seen mating the other day with one of the territorial males. So we're not 100% sure, but lions can be very tricky. We're still learning a lot about them, and having more live coverage and people with cameras and information getting spread through media, there is a lot more information being spread out. So we believe some lions also can do what we call, I actually don't know what the name is called now, but a female lioness, especially if new males move into the other area, and let's say that a male lion takes over a new pride. That lioness, if she's just had cubs recently from a male that's been killed by another territorial male, or the male's been chased away, she'll go into what we call a false estrus and go into a false season, and she will lure the male into thinking she's in season and mate with them. Because male lions will kill the cubs in any pride they take over to get the females into estrus so they can mate with them and spread their gene. But if it becomes too complicated and these male lions do take over a new pride, it has been known that lions will go into a false estrus to show, okay, look, I've got cubs hiding away, but I'll just show to him that I'm interested, they'll mate, and then although gestation period is 110 days, lions don't really keep a calendar on that. So the female roll up to the pride like a few days or like a week later with these cubs, and be like, voila, look, these are yours, although we mated only a few days ago. But this is these are what I've heard from other people. I've never witnessed it, but we're not too sure if Amber Eyes has got a den site, or if she has got cubs, or she lost the cubs and she's gone to season again. We are not sure. They are very tricky to follow up, and den sites can be very vulnerable, so it's best not to disturb them too much. So we are not sure on that one. CNAC, how big are lions compared to man? Now, what I use in comparison? I'm going to use myself as 90 kgs. You're looking at a lion that weighs probably almost double my weight on average, and they come up to about the size of my thigh. I'm about 1.94 m, so I'm 6'8", I think it is, 6'4". I can't even know my own height now. But yeah, when I stand next to one, they come, a full-grown one at shoulder height will come up to my waist. A male will come a bit higher than that. But I'm working on the averages here. Well, so yes, they are quite a large size. You can see the one further at the back that's lying parallel to the bush. He's got the two. No. There, that one. Twitching the ear. He is actually a male that joined up with a pride, but he's actually a very young male, and he had very bad mange, and he had a brother that also had very bad mange, but he sadly passed away from it. And I was actually surprised the other day when I bumped into him. I was like, wow, look at that female, she's massive. And then he got up and I could see what was between his legs, and I had to swallow my words and apologize. It was actually the mange. The reason why he doesn't have a mane now is because of the mange. I'm hoping there is a bit of tuft appearing around the neck, and it does, hopefully, in the next few years or months, it'll hopefully grow out. Now, he is looking a lot better. I did actually see them when I came for my interview drive, and I saw the two young males, and they were looking horrendous. I'm sure a lot of you who has been watching Safari Live in the last few months or years has seen him get better and better. While sadly his brother passed away, this guy is in immaculate condition now, and he is looking really good. I don't think he's going to hang around much longer, as there are territorial males around, and I'm sure he will be pushed off in the next half a year if he doesn't find another young males to hang around with. Now, I don't know what his movements will be. It's quite hard to say. It's pretty much survival of the fittest here. If he is smart, he will keep very quiet and try move off and probably hang around in the fringes. Yeah, it is very sad. If you have been following them for the last couple of months, I mean, if I'm correct in saying this pride has moved into the area about a year ago, and we've been following them on a day-to-day basis. So it is very sad when you can see how poorly they are, but we don't interfere with it. It's a natural thing, so we just let them do what they do. So, but it is quite sad when you follow them for so long. You're like, I'm so sorry, but it's sometimes you just feel relieved that's passed away, because then the pain has stopped. But as they get older, you could see this one was obviously healthier, stronger, and he got through. And that is what a successful pride is all about, is by having a strong unit, a strong, healthy lion. And he's very lucky to be part of this pride and how they've accepted him. And it's just another one to help hunt. Now, most of the best prey around here is buffalo, but sadly there's not a lot of buffalo around this time of the year. We're hoping as it gets drier and the water runs out in certain areas, we might get more herds passing through, and then these guys can have a perfect meal. But other than that, they are pretty much after wildebeest and zebra and kudu, whatever else is around, even giraffe. I'm sure by tonight or the next few days we will have something for you and see if they have eaten. I have no doubt they will. They might be hungry, but I have no doubt they'll be absolutely fine. There's a very strong pride here, lots of mouths to feed, growing youngsters. So yes, if they kill a small zebra, I think it'll be done in 2 minutes, and we might just find a carcass the next day. But hopefully, if they get a buffalo down, there is a few old buffalo bulls around here that I'm hoping they will find. Not hoping, but it'll be good for them to build up their strength and continue on with their lives. Okay, we're going to head back over to Tristan. I believe he might have something. He was following up on leopard, so yes. Copy that. Getting corrected in my ear. We're going over to David and the Mara.
Well, I'm looking at a few similarities between the Nkuhumas and my favorite pride of lions, the sausages. I mean, they have one big commonality. Prey. I'm talking about buffaloes. I remember the time I was in Juma. Every one time I saw the Nkuhumas with a kill, it was, I would say, 9 out of 10 times they had brought down a buffalo. Now, the sausages here, I would say also 7 out of 10 times they make a kill, they bring down a buffalo, and those guys are very good. And why I would say the sausages are a little bit special in terms of their hunting or in terms of the prey is even during the migration, when we got wildebeest filling up the whole of the Mara, and especially here in the Mara Triangle, we got wildebeest, hundreds of thousands of them, hundreds of thousands of zebras, with a choice of a zebra, a wildebeest, a buffalo. I have always seen the sausage guards going for buffaloes. I think they got that speciality. So if we would compare or do a parallel between the Nkuhumas and the sausages, I would say they have a commonality here. Now, earlier we were just watching one toppy with the school kids, and we got maybe now not one but three, and wondering how she bumbled up and joined the hartebeest and not stayed with these three, because it's not very far from where she was with the other group. And because of the height of the tall grass, so what these toppies would do for survival or for their, I would say not for survival, for safety, of course, survival from the predators, is to climb on termite mounds like this, where they can have a better view of there would be predators of some sort. So if you look carefully, one is facing one side and the other one was facing the other side. And once in a while, we have used them to help us, sight or see predators, because with this tall grass here, we have noticed animals either they can smell, for example, lions, better than us, and if we see them being very focused in a particular direction, we'll always tell there is maybe something. Now, these toppies here are similar to what you call the sesame. Sesames are the toppies of South Africa, and we'll call this the sesames of Kenya. Going in small groups, anything from 3 like this, sometimes you might even see 100 plus together. So chances are the one we saw with the hartebeest earlier could have been here, or maybe she might have lost these 3 because of the tall grass, and the closest animals that she saw, she joined them just to be a bit safe. Beautiful landscape here of the Mara, and we're just using our binoculars with Manu every time we stop to see whether we could see maybe a tail just flicking in this tall grass, because the grass is quite high, and you can see the expanse of the Mara, which is one very big difference in terms of vegetation between here and Juma. Here you can see all the way to the horizon. And for those of you who do not know what Mara means, it means a spotted area, and it's that open plains that you see there with small little bushes or trees or forest here or a rock here, and from the air they look like spots, and that's what Mara translates into in the local language of the people we call the Ma people or the Maasai. Well, we just need to move on, and I think we've done very well with the toppies, and I've decided to take a different direction, an area I've not been for quite some time, to chance and see if maybe the sausages might have gone to that direction. Where we were earlier, I'm sure you remember, we saw some buffaloes, and buffaloes have been giving us hope that if we see them, we might possibly see the lions, but they have not been there. And what that would mean, they might have gone to a different area, and there's nothing wrong with that, or there's nothing out of the ordinary if that's what they've done. So, Romet, how are you? And always a pleasure to hear your name. I'll tell you, or your question is, what's the buffalo population? Well, the group we just saw earlier, Romet, had about 50 buffaloes, and then I saw another group of about 200. In the Mara, unlike, let me say, we haven't seen people, Romet, researching on buffaloes. Not one time, and not even in Serengeti National Park in Tanzania. So we have seen people following lions, we have seen researchers on cheetahs, we have seen researchers on hyenas. Not sure why anybody has not been interested in following or researching on buffaloes, so nobody has come with, say, particular numbers of buffaloes. But I can tell you, Romet, there's a particular group of buffaloes, not this side of the Mara, the other side of the main Mara, that's always ranging between 800 to 1,000 buffaloes together. That's the other side of the Mara. Here where we are, in the Mara Triangle, Romet, I would guess about 500 is one of the largest herds of buffaloes I've seen. But of course, we'll always see scattered groups, sometimes, of course, of twos. If the males are herd, a mixed herd of females and males and youngsters of 50, as I just said, 200, and I think the largest I've seen is about 500. And from where I am, Romet, you can see that the herd of buffaloes coming up. That's why I told Manu, let's just change. And maybe that area we have always known the sausage to be, we do something different. Jura, good question. Where do we have more termite mounds? Mara or Juma? How do I answer that? I mean, I would say, Juma, I'm sure you know, is smaller in size compared to the Mara. And we also got a different species of termites. In Juma, they have more what we call the harvested termites. I would say if you look at the Mara, we got more different types or more different species of termites. And for that reason, we have more termite mounds here. So I would say it's more or less the same. And that question would be answered better by looking at the different species of termites in both areas. Now it has drastically cooled off, and what that would mean is the lions, even in the grass, they should just now stand up, do a bit of stretching in their four legs, or flick about the tails, or just start moving. So what I just want to do is just maybe to stop here, because this is the only way we've been doing drive, stop. Others, by keeping driving, it's very easy. Just drive and pass, lions just next to you. Romet, you see that herd of buffaloes there? This is my third herd of buffaloes to see, and they are all very scattered. And I wouldn't say they're scattering like that because of food. No, they have enough food. Maybe the leader female there have just thought, this is the way we go, because we know buffaloes are very democratic animals, and the moment they decide to move in a particular direction, say 5, 20, 30 of them, that is the direction they will go. Now, seeing these buffaloes here, you never know, it could mean the sausages could be around here, because currently we have the green season, and the only animals they'll be feeding on until the wildebeest come back will be buffaloes. Not sure the sausages have brought down anything else of big size since the beginning of the year, apart from buffaloes. In between the buffaloes, I'm sure they have caught, animals like warthogs, maybe a topi, maybe a hartebeest, But I don't think they have been able to catch anything bigger than that, not even a zebra. Should they do anything different? I would either look at an eland or maybe a giraffe. And yesterday we saw the Salt Lake Pride in the afternoon all the way through to the evening, and I saw them in a very unusual place because they had pushed very further north. What I do not know is, could the sausages have pushed them that far? That's the only way I'd look at it. If the sausages had pushed them, because I'm looking at the sausages, Bang Many, or the Pride, or the Five Girls, or the Cubs, and the two old pike males, maybe they could have really pushed the Salt Lake further in that area, because I have never seen them there before. So who knows? And if I don't see them today in the area I'm going into, I might go and look for them in the other area where normally we see the Salt Lakes. Okay, we need to look in the grass. We need to keep searching because Rusty is also searching.
Well, there's been some interesting activity. Just went down into the drainage line. We left the lines for a second because we could hear the Franklin alarm calling at different parts. First it started further up from us and then went further down and then started calling further down the drainage line. And as we drove up it, we saw these male leopard tracks. I'm not too sure which one. It could be Tingana. It could be Hukamori. I am not too sure. Those are the two territorial males that I know of in this immediate area. So it is part of the overlapping range. So I'm guessing it might be one of them, but there are rogue males all the time passing through. So I'm just hoping it might be the leopard. We're not too sure. It could just be a bird of prey that flew over. The tracks are very fresh, and it looks like he came down just before he saw the lions and then did a loop around, and then the bird started calling further down. So I'm just driving very slowly through here just to see he's parked up. But it is, if it is him, or one of them, if it is a leopard that they are alarm calling to, they're to a big pride of lions like that. So they take to trees, move out of the area very quickly. Doesn't matter how hot it gets. I don't see any tracks down here. We had them further up, but it's so thick now they can just be in the thicket here, and we just don't see anything. So we're just going by tracks at the moment and seeing if we can hear any more alarm calls. But as you know, these leopards are quite used to the vehicle. So we're hoping for them to show himself, unless it is a skittish male or a rogue male that's just passing through the area. But we can only but look and try. I can't see it walking in the midday heat for much longer. I think it's just gonna pass. It's not a midday, but it still feels like midday with this. I'm actually sweating all the way down my back. But if it is, I'm pretty sure it's parked off into the shade somewhere. So I'm going to keep following this down for as long as I can and see if we can pick up the tracks. Okay, I'm going to let you go over to Tristan and get you an update from there.
Well, good luck, Rusty. I hope you have more luck than what we've had so far this afternoon. We've checked pretty much everywhere where I would expect little Clamber to be, but with very little success at this rate. And that's probably due to the fact that it's still quite warm, and the block directly to the west of where we had these tracks, which is which way the tracks were pointing, is incredibly thick. And so it's going to be a tricky one to be able to find her in all of this. I mean, we're going to have to hope that she moves and sparks off some sort of an alarm call or gets some sort of animal upset about her presence. So that's what we're kind of just doing at the moment, is just ambling along. Every now and then we just stop back at those tracks there, and I really tried hard to kind of figure out exactly where they crossed the road, but it is impossible. She walked onto a hard section of mud, and you can see even Ellies have walked onto that mud and their tracks disappear, and it just kind of becomes a sort of muddy sheen. It's almost like concrete that she's walked on. So incredibly difficult when they walk somewhere like that to be able to actually spot any tracks. And so I can't figure out whether she actually crossed the road or whether she's still on the sort of pan side of the road. But either way, I don't think she's gone too far, given how hot it's been today, and given that she drank there, I would imagine what it looks like at some point during the day. She definitely drank there after the Nkuhumas were there last night, and after a few hyenas, because she's on top of those. So I would imagine that she must be somewhere close by. She's probably just sitting watching me, knowing her. She's got her head down, kind of just staring at me from one of the thickets, and I've just walked right past her in all likelihood. Now, we're going to hopefully be able to find her somewhere. I'm just scanning all the big marulas as well, because sometimes in heat like this, they will go up into a tree where there's a bit of shade and they can get into a breeze. She doesn't seem to be a cat that likes to do it too much. She prefers more things like termite mounds and the likes, but she definitely does get up onto things from time to time. So it's worth scanning anything that's sort of raised in any way. So tree, termite mound, those kind of things, and anywhere close to water particularly, because she tends to like to hang around water. So we'll get lucky eventually. But other than that, it's quiet. I mean, we went past Buffelshoek Dam, no sign of anything there. There was Scuba Steve doing his normal thing, and other than that, very few birds that were there. There was a few tracks for Ellies, but no sign of the elephants themselves. And that was about it. So it's been a quiet afternoon. We haven't heard any sort of alarm calls. We haven't seen too many birds. In fact, even the birds have been fairly quiet as we've been driving along. Often when you're driving, you'll hear an odd little bird call here or bird call there, and you'll kind of hear them and you can see them fluttering about. But this afternoon seemingly has been quite quiet, as have the last few days for me particularly. All the other presenters have had fairly good drives, to be honest, and I suppose it's because I also haven't really committed to any of the static sightings of late. I've been trying to find the leopards a little bit more. So Lauren, would Kuchava go easier on Clamber, if she met up with her, do they know they're sisters? No, they probably don't. And I'll tell you why, is because Kachava, when she's near Tundi at the moment, Tundi fights with her and Tundi chases her away. And so Kachava probably from a scent point of view hasn't made that connection, I don't think. And so if she came across Clamber, she most certainly would be quite aggressive. And I mean, if you were sort of prime example of how that works is if you take Karula and had Tundi and Shongile, so they were sisters, yet we know that Tundi attacked Shongile and was quite sort of vicious towards her. So, you know, it's they definitely know love lost when they separate out from their mothers, and then also if they are sisters or related in some way, that means nothing to them. It's all about territory and protecting their areas to make sure that they are able to breed and protect their own offspring, and also to be able to find their own mates and food and water. So I think Kachava would be probably quite aggressive towards little Clamber if she were to come across, or if they were to come across each other, should I say. I wonder if she hasn't come more this way towards one of these pans. It's very possible, I suppose. Mama B, how long can a leopard go without a meal? Well, in extreme circumstances, probably anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks would be considered... No, Rusty, stop it. Rusty's squeaking today. It's very irritating. It would be, I would say, probably about 2 to 3 weeks, and they'd be extremely thin and emaciated and hungry, and be starting to really lose condition and ability to actually hunt. So that's normally where I would say... I'm just trying to listen to the radio, because it sounds like the guys have got an update on maybe these tracks that we've been tracking. It's a very big lion poo next to the road there. No, nobody is talking about these. They're talking about the lions. So I was just trying to listen in case, because I know that there's 2 trackers on foot in this area that are trying to check the block coming through. So, you know, the Juma guides have dropped their trackers off to try and see if they can walk through the block and pick up any tracks, which helps us a lot, because obviously I can't go too far from the car, given that nobody's going to drive around and fetch me, and I have to kind of talk to all of you. So much easier if they walk through the block and they can check all those tracks and make sure if there is anything inside there that they pick it up and are able to kind of communicate to us whether they find anything. But she hasn't come out this side. This road is probably one of the easiest roads in order to see tracks, and she definitely doesn't seem to have crossed this road at all. The problem with little Clamber is sometimes when she crosses roads, much like her mom, is that she won't go... A lot of leopards will normally come onto a road, and then they'll walk a few steps up it and then off it like that. So you'll normally get this kind of linear effect running in the same direction that you are. But Clamber and Tundi both like to do the sneaky one, which is they just kind of 1 step, 2 step, and off onto the other side, straight across. And so that track is very tricky to spot when you're driving, because, you know, generally when we're scanning around, we'll check left, right, and then you look at the tire track and you try and look for a broken section of the tire track, and that'll alert you to tracks, and then you kind of pull and you try and sort of double check the track. But when they're just going straight over, it's not as easy to discern that break in the tire pattern as when it's a repetitive pattern going away from you or towards you on that tire track. So when you've got lots of breaks in the tire track, much easier, whereas when it's just one, I might be looking to the right and miss it completely, and she crosses over and I drive over that track and then you can't see it anymore. So, you know, it's a horrible thing when they walk over roads like that, and is in all likelihood what probably happened this afternoon. Liz M. Shongile, no idea. We have not seen Shongile now for 1.5 years. She was fought with Tundi and was then never seen again. So it was August of 2017, and then she was never seen after that. There was a few kind of reports here and there that they saw her, but there was never a photograph taken of her or anything like that to prove any of those reports. And I quite frankly have a lot of doubt in any of those sightings post Tundi, just because, like I say, there was not a single photograph that came out of it, and she was a relaxed enough female that if somebody had seen her, they would have definitely kind of got some pictures out of that sighting. So I don't mean, she might be alive, she might be somewhere, She might also have gotten badly injured and moved off and died of her injuries. She might have distributed to another area, but we don't know where she is or what happened to her. And given that it's been as long as it has, if she has moved away from here and she has settled somewhere else, she's not going to be coming back. And the fact that we haven't really picked up any signs of her from any of the surrounding lodges, of which there are many. So the only way she could have been completely lost is if she went straight east into the Kruger. And even then, there's a lot of people that drive around the Kruger and post photos. It's very possible that, we would have picked up some sort of sign of her by now. But you never know. I mean, leopards have hidden in plain sight before, and that has happened. And you kind of always part of you wants a leopard to be able to survive. But I don't know how much. I, in my heart, probably think that she didn't make it, unfortunately. But who knows? Like I said, we're not sure. Anyway, we're going to keep doing a few loops around this area. We'll just kind of slowly bumble about. And in the meantime, let's send you back up to the Mara with David.
Well, it is interesting, when, say, a leopardess or a leopard just disappear and it's not seen for months and months. And I think just the other day I heard Hosanna had relocated, not sure to what particular area, and he has not been seen for quite some time. And Hosanna happened to be one of my favorite leopards when I was in Juma. But I'm just hoping sooner or later he'll be back in Juma, because viewers have always loved to see Hosanna. Well, I have moved to an area now. I would say I'm coming to the boundary between the sausage lions and another part of lions that we call the Owinos. Because from where I am now, I got a feeling, because we all know lions are very territorial. So where I am now, I'm just like, I would say, a no man's land, not the sausages and not the Owinos, as much as once in a while they do overlap. And I thought, if definitely I do not see the sausages, I could be lucky to see the Owinos. Owinos, I gathered up when I was away at home the other day, that they got some cubs, they got some new babies in them that personally I have not seen. And I think my first person to see them was my friend Isaac, who first saw them for the first time. And I think after that, either Lauren and Patrick have seen them. And when is the last time you saw the man with the cubs of the Owinos?
3 days ago.
All right, Manu tells me 3-4 days ago is the last time, he saw those cubs of the Owino pride. Personally, I'd be very happy to see them. And it'll be the same challenge, with the sausages, with the tall grass. We have to work extremely very hard to see them. Otherwise, seeing them walking on the road like this is one thing we have to depend on very much. Seeing them on top of a termite mound, it's another. If it were the sausages, I would say seeing them on top of a tree, like on top of a sausage tree, could be one of the, we would use to be able to spot them. But I'm still hopeful something will happen. I think this is, flying away. Looks like a yellow-throated. Is that good for you, Manu? It's a little bird there. It's just braving the wind, and it looks like the yellow-throated long claw. And it's on a sandpaper, and the sandpaper is growing on top of a termite mound. So we've got 3 different lives there. The bird, the sandpaper, and the termite mound all in one. So the termites are definitely using the sandpaper as a pillar to definitely hold their mound together. That's how, I think we had a question earlier, which place has more termite or mounds than the other between Juma and the Mara? Well, this is just one of them. and you notice how lush or green any plant that will grow on top of that because of all the nutrients they'll be able to gather from the termites themselves. And we all know termites will not eat anything green. That's why the lives of these plants are very solid there and doing very well. Hello, yellow-throated longclaw. Smith, look how you'd want me to imitate the noise of my favorite bird. That's a tough one. I will try. Manu, I don't hope you're going to bring the camera into me because that's not very fair, but I'll try. And I'll first do the call and then I'll tell you which one I'm thinking of. It is something very close to that. And what I'm trying to think I'm doing, I could be wrong. I don't want to have to play it here because I could be wrong, but I'm talking of the ground hornbill. Let me see how it will come out of here. My voice is not very good. That's not a very good excuse, but let's see. Wow, it will sound from here. But I'm thinking I was very close to what I would call ground hornbill. And why I took the hornbill is because it's my favorite bird. The sound it makes. And I had heard it today, earlier in the day, because anytime we hear them calling, there's a particular call. If they make, for example, the village I come from, it must rain 100%. It must rain. And this is the southern ground hornbill. Let's see. It's very windy, but let's see whether we might be able to hear anything. Did that make sense? One more time. I think I did very well. Manu, do you agree? Did I do well? Manu said I did very well. I have a little bit of an issue with my throat, but one more time. I had them today, and chances are, thank you very much. That's like my imitation. And the reason I played is because I've had today. But to be very honest, my most favorite bird is the lilac-breasted roller. All right. Manu, ready to move on? Unless you spotted some lion somewhere, or did you stop at Toppy? Yeah, there's another lone Toppy there. And you see the difference where I'm saying living alone here in the African wilderness is pretty dangerous. And that's why he is on the move. He is just running number one. It's very windy. And the only thing he needs to do is to keep moving because he is very scared. Just seeing the grass move, it just scares him. And they don't see very well. Their senses are not as accurate as when there is no wind. So every 1 minute they'll think a lion will be coming, a cheetah will be coming, a leopard will be coming, and they have to be on their toes. And more often than not, they'll not even be eating anything because they are always on the move. Okay. Brian, you'd like to know what the best time to see the safari or to come on safari in Africa to see the animals? Well, let's start by Kenya, where I am. And for me, any time here is a good day. Yesterday, I had a whole pride of lions. My friend Lauren had a cheetah this morning with a kill. And what I'm saying, any time of the year is a good time to come. But if you want to look at abundance, if you want to look at thousands of animals, I would say come during the migration. And I'm talking of, for example, July, August, September, October. It's the very best time to come. It's one time you'd stop your car like here and you just see a sea of wildebeest, for example, or zebras, and you can count hundreds of those animals. And that, of course, would translate to having lots of cats, lots of lions, lot of cheetahs, lots of leopards, of course, hyenas. That could be very easy to spot during that time. But I'd say any other time is good time. Look at South Africa. I mean, they go like leopards every other time. Unlike here, they may not have migration there, but they have animals like all around the year. All right. So what you have at the moment now, Brian, we have all these tall grass you see here. But another 3-4 months, we will be having the migration of the wildebeest and the zebras coming back from Tanzania. Well, I want to continue searching. Hopefully I should be able to catch some lions. Let's go to Rusty and get his update.
Well, we're back, and I have to apologize for something that I did wrong. My tracking skills are not the best. I should have actually perfected this over the years, but I did not. That so-called leopard track, which I thought was a large male, turns out to be one of the young lions. Because, of course, I went back and followed up. I was like, no, man, I'm convinced it was a leopard. Where did he go? But then I followed the tracks and actually on foot and followed a path, and then you could see the obvious size of the track as it came off the soft sand. Now, when you see lion tracks in soft sand, when they walk, the sand goes back into the paw, so the paw print. So it actually makes the paw look smaller than it actually is. But then obviously for further investigation, and this was actually Craig's advice to go back and just double check. And yes, he made a wise decision, and we went back and found out it was just actually one of the lions that went down the drainage line and joined the rest of the pride. So I changed direction and carried on going back up the drainage line and just followed up on anything else. I did see some spotted eagle owls that had a roosting spot here a few days ago, and I was hoping to find them, but I could not see them right now. So yes, I was just hearing over the radio about Gigi's favorite bird and favorite bird sound, and it said the ground hornbill that you get up there. Craig had an opinion about saying, I'm sure he said a few months ago that his favorite bird was a lilac-breasted roller. I think he chose one of the two best birds out there, so yes, I will go for the ground hornbill as well, and I would really like to go back and hear what he has, his sound for it, since I cannot imitate any of the bird sounds. But yes, I had a question earlier on about the favorite time of year to be in Juma. But please forgive me because I've only been here 3 weeks, but I'm pretty sure where I was before was only about, an hour and 45 minutes away, so it's pretty much the same climate. But where our camp was right against the river, so the winters were a bit harsher. My favorite time of the year, I would think, is August. Not only because it's when I grow another year older, but I just like that change of season from winter to summer, and it's just that cool. You still have you get warm days and the nights slowly warm up, but it's still very cool in the morning, so it's very refreshing. And you get that August winds, which I love the sound of wind coming through the bush, and just you can smell the seasons changing even. That to me is the best time of the year. But here in Juma, when it comes to, I think, spotting animals, I think I will go for probably June, July, when it's more open or more dry, let's say that, where the leaves are no longer on the trees and the grass has mostly died off or been grazed. So I'm guessing I will ask around and find out. You can ask the other two who else on drive and find out what their best time of year they reckon is in Juma, because I have not found out that yet. I need a complete year, and then I will give you my assessments on what is the best month. I don't have any choices yet, but I will let you know. So yes. While I was, obviously because I went back on the tracks, and Craig gave me the indication, I'll show you what he picked up. And this is what happens to newbies that come here, we get abused. I did tell him I prefer leather over a piece of common reed, but he didn't find it very funny. But yeah, I don't know why. I think after a while he just ends up picking things up off the ground. Again, I'll link you back over to, I missed that one. Is it Tristan? I can't remember. I spoke over that. Sorry, can you repeat who I am going to linking over to? Murray. Oh, there's a pretty woodlands. Okay, we're going to head over to Tristan and see what he is looking at.
Well, Rusty, don't beat yourself up too much. These things happen. In terms of sometimes mixing up tracks, it can be quite tricky, particularly with young male and female tracks can be a little bit on the tough side, so I wouldn't worry too much. But as you can see, we're at Buffelshoek Dam, and there's a ripple in the water, and that's because Scuba Steve is doing what Scuba Steve does best. At least the light is pretty on Scuba Steve as he blows water out of his nostrils before he submerges down once again. They do this with regularity in this particular pan, and yeah, I think we should rename Buffelshoek Dam at this stage. I actually saw a tweet about it, that we should start calling this a different name, like Loser's Lair, or I think it was Loser's Lake or something like that, given that Steve's on his own. There's Snorkel Sarah. She's being shy today. She just stuck up her nose and is definitely not doing any favors to us in terms of showing off. And I suppose her name suits her, Snorkel Sarah, just putting up two little nostrils as snorkels. But otherwise, it's incredibly quiet around Buffelshoek Dam. You would think in heat like this that we would get at least an antelope drinking from here, but no, that's not the case. There's not a single antelope, nor is there a predator to stop the antelopes from drinking. And so, well, we're just sitting and kind of admiring the beauty of water at this stage. And every now and then watching a hippo pop up and down, which I can tell you is exhilarating. It's something that will be a showstopper at some point in time, is Scuba Steve's bobbing action. Anyway, Scuba Steve does not agree. No, Nikki B, his girlfriend, is there. She had her nostrils up just now. She just doesn't want to be on camera today. She's having a bad hair day, and has decided that today she's going to... There you go. See, there's the nostrils that have just popped up. Hello, little nostrils, and then they've gone back down again. So Snorkel Sarah is having a bad hair day. She doesn't want to be seen by the world today. She's still in her dressing gown and her slippers at this stage of the game, and so, she hasn't freshened up in order to show off her face and her kind of beautiful outlook on life and body and those kind of things. So she's hidden for now, unfortunately. But anyway, ridiculous conversation. But this is what happens when you sit here with Snorkel Sarah and Scuba Steve, because I think we've addressed pretty much everything there is to address about this particular pairing of hippos and their life here at Buffelshoek Dam. And so, we'll have to kind of start coming up with storylines. But anyway, we're going to carry on. We're going to try and kind of see what else we can find. It's definitely a beautiful afternoon now. The temperature is absolutely perfect, and it should be good for some animals to come out. Like I said, it would be nice if maybe we got a little elephant herd, would be very pleasant, and there's all signs of them being around here. Now, apparently Murray wants to know what my best time of year is to be on safari in Juma. Well, Murray, this is a question we've been through many times before, but essentially my favorite time of the year, as many people will know, is September, October, November. In the sands, and the reason for that is quite simple. It's very, very dry at that point in time, and it then starts to change and starts to get a few drops of rain, and the bush starts to kind of liven up a little bit. Migratory birds start to come back, but that dry kind of period, you get this amazing sightings that kind of happen in September, early October, and then things start to change, and watching the bush go from brown and drab to bright green, and watching all those insects and things starting to come out is always a very pleasant time. Plus, it feels nice to have warm sun after a cold winter, and thunderstorms and those kind of things once again. Rusty? No. We're going to fight if you're going to start squeaking again. Rusty's going to go to the doctor, I think, tonight, and to try and kind of get itself sorted out, that's for sure. Now, there's a number of people calling me on the radio. I have absolutely no idea why, given that I've got no update to give anyone. I've had a pretty non-eventful drive at this stage, but maybe they're wanting to find out where I had my last tracks. But we'll talk to them later. I don't think they need to worry at this stage. They'll be fine. They'll hold on for 5 minutes. I'm just interested to see why they're calling. Sorry, Murray, you're going to have to repeat that question. I wasn't listening at all. Now, did I drive over these tracks? Seb, which way did we come to Buffelshoek Dam earlier?
Not this way, the one before over there.
So, Tweety, if Tundi goes, will Kuchava take over her territory? Not necessarily. It's possible that she can, but not necessarily. Clamber might take a piece, Kuchava takes a piece, Shadulu takes a piece, and between them they kind of share it out, or Clamber takes most of it. You never know. So it's not necessarily the case that Kuchava will take over, but she certainly will probably push a little bit more into Torchwood and maybe even to the southern side of Juma, particularly if Tundi goes and leaves just little Clamber, who's still going to be quite young. Kuchava might see an opportunity to be able to force herself in a little bit. But remember, Kuchava didn't actually grow up in this area, so she was born south, and where she is now is pretty much where she kind of grew up, and so for her, that'll be where she's safest. She'll feel that's where it's safest, given that she spends so much time there. So, I think for her, that's where she'll end up. She's quite well established, unless, of course, she starts to have daughters of her own, and that then starts to shift and move her a little bit. Those tracks I saw just now were for a lioness, but they look like they were fairly fresh, and I know that Jamie was saying this morning that there was only 10 Nkuhumas, and that one was missing. I think she said one was missing, or mating with a male up in Buffelshoek, and I just thought a second, I wonder if it's not another one that's coming over and just kind of trying to rejoin, because I drove there and I didn't see those tracks. I suppose they would have been on the opposite side of the car for me, which means I wouldn't have seen with the door and the bonnet, but they look like they're not bad, maybe from last night, early this morning. But let's double check and slowly kind of scratch around. I want to just check this pan in front here. This is often a good little pan for various things to spend some time, although it looks as though it's very empty today. Yes. A whole lot of nothing going on here. A bit of green grass growing though. I suppose that's quite exciting. Right in the middle. In fact, it looks like a bit of jungle rice is what you could call it, I think. I'm trying to see if it's got the little red markings. No, it doesn't. So it's not jungle rice that's growing there. It's another species of grass that's popping up through the mud. That's drying up. Just goes to show you how dry it actually is. You would think that these mud wallows would be full at this time of the year, but they are drying rather rapidly. Murray, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, and neither does Seb, apparently. Seb, actually, you know what's quite nice here is if you look at the grasses, there's a whole bunch of butterflies. So, watch your weight, Donna. You didn't understand about who needs to see the doctor. The car needs to see the doctor. Rusty is the name of the car that I am driving, and therefore needs to go and get some attention because it's squeaking louder than you can even imagine, and it is highly irritating and is driving Sebastian and I rather crazy, isn't it, Seb? Mm-hmm. Exactly. Seb is going, yep. And so we're having a bit of a kind of day of it in terms of dealing with Rusty's noise. So Rusty's going to go to the doctor, and the doctor's name is Opa, who's our mechanic. And he is able to fix these things quite well, or particularly these cars, these Land Rovers. He's incredibly good with these. So we'll definitely send it off to him to try and get them sorted out. But as you can see, we've got a whole bunch of African jokers by the looks of things that are busy milling about and sitting on the grasses. I'm just trying to double check if it's the spotteds or the African. So it looks like spotted joker is what we've got. I think it's maybe, I'm just trying to see the underwing just to see them. They're very, very similar butterflies in many respects, but the spotted joker's got a lot more kind of barring under the wings and white, which this is what this one does. So spotted jokers is what we've got here. You get both spotted and African joker in this particular area. And there's obviously something that they really, really like, on this particular grass, because there's lots and lots of them that are milling about there and maybe pairing off in order to mate and lay eggs. For the last few times, I suppose, a lot of the butterflies will be breeding now for the last little bit, and then they're going to start disappearing as, winter starts to take hold and temperatures start to cool down and, food starts to become less available. Maybe they're also just feeding off the grasses that are seeding, getting some sort of nectar out of all of that. But very, very pretty in this golden afternoon light to see them kind of flying about. We often talk about butterflies. We don't get them on camera all that often. No, Bobby, butterflies don't mate. They just click their antlers and clap their heels together and out pops a new butterfly. It's pretty incredible, actually. It's like magic. Butterflies are incredible creatures in that there's no mating required. Now, of course, I'm joking. There would be no butterflies if mating didn't take place. So they do need to mate with one another. Often what you'll find with butterflies is you'll find the male flying around with the female and actually carrying her as he goes, as they basically fertilize each other. Well, not fertilize each other, because that would be awkward if a female fertilized a male. Something would have gone wrong there. But the male will fertilize a female. She'll then lay eggs, and those eggs will hatch and little caterpillars will come out. And from there, the caterpillars then pupate and go through a change in their body structure and then come out as butterflies. Very cool to see. Right, Seb, let's carry on. We've enjoyed our butterflies, but we're going to go and see what else we can find. Nice to spend some time close to water. Close side, how long do these butterflies live? Well, very short lifespans for most of the butterflies out here. There are some that are slightly long-lived, but these African jokers, I don't think last more than 4 or 5 months is what I would imagine. I'm not 100% sure on it. I'll double check it to see, but I think that's about their lifespan. 3 to 4 months would be my guess for these guys. There are some others that you'll find will live longer than that. But most butterflies are very short-lived, and that's why you only see them really in the summer months, and then they disappear for a while and then start to come out. Oh, impalas. Yes, impalas are a good sign, people. Impalas are going to help us find a leopard at some point, because they're going to make a noise and snort. I actually don't think I've heard an alarm-calling impala this entire cycle yet.
Me neither.
You neither?
Yeah, since I've been back from there.
Unacceptable, eh? So we have to have a word with them, Seb. These impalas are not doing what we pay them for out here.
Exactly.
We're going to start taking away all their grass and dry out the pans if they're not going to start alarm calling for the leopards a little bit more often than what they have been. It's actually weird. Since I've been back, I've seen a few leopards and we've seen a few predators, but I have not found a single one due to alarm calls, which is weird. That's generally the case. We normally find here that's how we find a lot of our predators, is tracks and then alarm calls, and then you follow up and find them. But this particular cycle, it seems that's not how it's going to work. Anyway, we're going to meander down this road to see what we find. In the meantime, off you go to Rusty, who's managed to find some semblance of signal.
Well, good luck, Tristan. I could always help him track leopards. As you know, my reputation so far hasn't been that grand. But I do love tracking. I love the art of tracking, and I am always amazed when you can follow a brilliant tracker who can almost predict the animal's movements. So yes, once you become a very good tracker, I think it's a very nice gift to have. We're on the way, we are coming up to it shortly, to see what is happening with Scuba Steve and Snorkeling Sarah. See what they have been up to in the last few days. I don't think they're going to fill me in much gossip or much activity. As you know, they generally just bob up and down in the water, where they do get a bit more restless to move out and start grazing. I know Craig here has got his stick at arm's reach away, just in case I do something wrong or say something wrong, or offend these two hippos. Now, yes, on cue, they look like they're doing absolutely fine, but yeah. Well, I believe you guys already saw them sometime this afternoon with, with Tristan. So, well, we just came past here because I miss them, and because this is where I saw Tingana and one of the buffershoek females that was mating. That was just mating on the other side of the dam here the other day. So yes, I was in pursuit of the hippos as well as any other activity around here. Normally there might be something coming down to drink at this time of the evening, but it still seems very quiet. There's just a few birds around the edges and Scuba Steve and Snorkeling Sarah. I do apologize if you have already seen them this afternoon, but we'd like to keep tabs of them as well. There also seems to be a few Egyptian geese around. Janet, how long is a hippo's gestation period? Now, I may be corrected if I'm wrong if I say 9 months or 8 months. I've got something in my head now and I've got too many numbers coming out. And I hate it when I second guess myself, so I can get back to you on that one shortly because I am second guessing myself. So if any other viewers are following this, I'm sure one of you have got it down already and typing it down as we speak. But my guess is at 8 months. They have a few carriers. I'm sure some of you know what they are already. They are the red-billed oxpeckers, and they often, if there are hippos in a pan somewhere, they use it as a form of safety and come down and drink because nothing's going to bother them. Not a crocodile, no crocodile will come in close to a hippo and grab one. So they feel quite safe there. And they do also eat the parasites off the hippo if they come out. But it was also funny, I watched it a few months ago. Bobby, will a male hippo kill a baby hippo? It does happen, not often. If a baby is stranded or alone or hasn't been looked after or is causing problems with the pod, male hippos will sometimes kill them. It's not often the case. I have heard of the odd occasion happening. I believe somebody here had witnessed it, of a hippo killing a baby. If that baby was related to the hippo, I'm not sure. Or if it was just lost from another pod and just wandered into this pod. They're not very accepting of strangers. They are a very close family group. I'm surprised there's not more than 2 hippos here, but the other hippos are not that far away. So yes, I am going to make a move and see if we can get back to the Nkuhumas and see if they go down to the watering hole or see what we can find on the way past. They are actually more active than usual, so I'm pretty sure in the next few moments they are going to be, or the next half an hour or 45 minutes as the sun sets, they're going to be moving out. Okay, well, as we leave these guys, I've got in search of the Hukumori, in search of the Nkuhumas. We'll link you over to the Mara with David.
Well, I think it's always good to see hippos, and especially now during the day. Normally, we know hippos come out of water at night to go and feed. And as it's getting dark here, especially in Kenya, because darkness comes a lot faster here than South Africa. We always 1 hour ahead of South Africa. We'll always see hippos coming out of the Mara River to go out and graze. And you'll always have to drive very, very carefully because hippos are quite dangerous animals. Well, I'm sure you all know the rainy season in Kenya. We've got 2 rainy seasons. We've got the long rains and the short rains. The long rains should have started by now. For me, I think they are just a bit late, but I'll just try and stop here and maybe swing in a way that Manu might show you some wall of rain. Sorry, Manu, to just get you off guard there, but you know how efficient you are to frame what I request you to do. And if you look in the background there, that's where our camp is. And you can see there's a huge wall of rain there. And normally we'll always get the rain there before it comes to where we are. So this should be the long rains now, and maybe this could be the very onset. See those dark clouds there and the rain that's falling there. So as he is panning towards the right, you can see the clouds are thicker there, but no rain. So the direction you saw the big rain, that's where the camp is, and even the Ololo escarpment is covered by the rain. The Mara gets an average of about 1,000 millimeter of rain in a year, annually, 1,000 millimeter rain. But I think last year we definitely had more than that. See the amount of rain there? So this is the direction we're heading into. So just crossing fingers, we'll be able to catch some cuts. And more so the Owino pride, because where I am now, this is 100% Owino territory. I already came out of the no man's land where they'll always overlap between themselves and the sausages. But now this is the Owino Republic. And where we are, we can hear some thunderstorms. And once in a while, we've been seeing some lightning. So those trees you see there are the typical torchwood trees, very iconic trees of the Mara, and the Serengeti National Park in Tanzania. Penguin and safari, you ask whether the Mara have the golden sparrows. I do not think so, penguin and safari, because I haven't seen them. We have other types of sparrows, but I do not think we have that. But what I will do, I am going to do research for you tonight, and I look at the sparrows that are available in the Mara, and I'll be letting you know whether we have them here or not. But I would be interested to know whether they're here. We're getting small little bites once in a while of sassaflies, which I'm surprised they have come this far. Sassaflies, more for the north, we'll see them north of Serengeti. But I think because of how dry it has been, they have also come this far. So I'll be finding out whether we have those sparrows here. But definitely, you know, other sparrows like the wire-tailed, we have so many of them here. The Nyanza, we have so many of others here. The white-breasted sparrows, there are very many. But for the golden one, I'll be finding out if we got them here in the Mara, and especially in this particular area we are into. So just been getting some raindrops starting to spit where we are, but if it does, we are always very well prepared, and we'll always bring the canvas down, the flaps down on the side, and we'll bring the windshield up, and then you're going to open one small little window either on the left side or on the right side of the car. Should we bump into some sighting, we'll still be able to show it to you when we got all the flaps down. But as yet, there's nothing to worry, just a bit of spitting, and sometimes it takes a long time before we get big rains, but not once we have been caught off guard by the rain just coming like that. And that's the time Manu will scream, you know, David, you have to take care of my camera. Manu is the gentleman who is filming with me today. Now, where are the Owinos? We have definitely given up with the sausages and looking at going back to that republic tomorrow until we get them out. And the best thing is always to go in a particular area, clean it, and then move to another area. You know, just comb the whole grass and then keep moving on until you're satisfied that you have checked in every one area. I was telling Manu yesterday it was good that we spotted the Salt Lake Pride, and you know, you never know. Having seen them, we have an extra pride of lions to deal with. So should we not be able to spot the sausages in the next few days, we can always chance on the Salt Lake Pride. Okay, let's see who might be coming out. And remember, we have always told you, should you have any questions or comments, don't be shy, bring them on #Safari Live on Twitter. So hitting the big road, I've decided I turn to the right to avoid the wall of rain in that direction. So if it rains, still the rain will be coming from behind us as we go this way. All right, sometimes, when rains come, when it gets pretty cold, we'll get animals, even coming on the road, be it hyenas or even lions, to get about the warmth that has been on the substrate for the better part of the day. And let's get an update from Tristan.
Well, guys, we're just going to be on the radio shortly. Sharp. Sorry, guys. Yeah, Orbs, will you just put me on a standby there, please? Thank you. Right, so apparently there's been a leopard that's just crossed onto Juma from Little Gari side, so we're going to start heading in that direction. Try to see if we can get to where she is. Now, we're going to try and see if we can just kind of listen to exactly who it is and where it is. So I just want to talk to the guys quickly, sorry. Yeah, Tex, can I grab standby 1 then, please? Now, I don't know why the radio is not working, but apparently no one can listen to it. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, FM. On standby 1 for the leopard. Right, so anyway, we're going to try and see. We're on standby for it. Whether or not we get to see it will be interesting. But we're going to slowly start heading closer, which is exciting news. At least there's something happening. This impala also looks... What have you seen, impalas? These impalas look very alert. What have you seen? I wonder if there's not another leopard cruising around here. Maybe let's find our own leopard, Seb. How about that? Because it's chaos for this other one.
Pretty good at that.
We are good at it, but let's see if they snort. Let's just give it a chance. They look very, very alert as to something down in the drainage line. David, you say hopefully Shadulu with cubs, and unfortunately won't be here, or where that leopard crossed in. That leopard's likely to either be Tundi or Tingana, or potentially, you never know, maybe one of the other leopards that we get seen around this area, but I don't think it would be Shadulu. It's the wrong side for her. I'm going to go forward a little bit, and let's just see if we can see anything. Sometimes if a leopard's stalking impala, kind of can see... No, nothing that I can see. So just trying to look, but I don't see anything. The impalas are not shouting, so I mean that means that they're not seeing whatever it is that's moving around here. You see anything, Seb? Impalas certainly looked very kind of intrigued by what was going on there. They're still standing right here. They're kind of ambling off. So, I mean, you know, in leopard, they go crazy if they see a leopard. But if they see some sort of movement and they're not really sure, sometimes they can be a little bit more kind of nervous of what's going on. Let's just check. There's a little pathway that goes down here, and this is kind of the direction that they're looking. So thick now compared to what it was. I wonder if this pathway is still even open. The problem here is it's so undulating, the terrain, that it's very, 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 very difficult to actually see. And even for an impala, if a leopard gets in behind these kind of little undulations, it's going to be a tough animal to spot in all of this. I don't see anything, Seb. I don't know. There's a spider web that's just going to hit us in the face. Marie, Hosanna went to Londolozi, so we haven't seen him for over a month now, more. I'd say it's almost 2 months now that we haven't seen him. And so he's been hanging around sort of as far as we know, Londolozi, and kind of seen a little bit on Elephant Plains, and then Londolozi mostly. You hear these francolins here, Seb?
Yeah.
I wonder if there isn't something. There's Franklin's alarm calling on my left-hand side here. I'm just trying to negotiate a very, very kind of rough and steep banks and undulating terrain. Let's just see. Franklin's are alarm calling, and this is an area where, funny enough, Hosanna, talking about Hosanna, spent a lot of time. Tandi, Clamber, Tingana, they've all gone up and down this section. So it's a good area to look for a leopard. And with the impalas looking the way that they were, Franklin's alarm calling, it's a good place just to have a look. But it might be why the impalas were looking so kind of intently in this area is maybe they heard those Franklins calling and thought maybe something's lurking around here. So here the Franklins are right here. Let's just turn off and listen. No, that's not helping us. They're getting upset with us at this stage.
But it wasn't those calling, huh?
Yeah.
It sounded more like functions of the day, so alright.
You think more to the right, eh,
The
Seb?
ones that were calling, yes.
Okay, let's go and see. Let's go and investigate. These guys certainly are very vocal and making quite a bit of noise. It's actually quite interesting. 2 different species that we've got here at the moment. So you've got crested francolins and Natal spurfowls that are together. So that's the Natal spurfowl, that one there, with the reddish beak. And then to the left of it is a crested francolin. That's maybe why they're actually making a bit of noise, these two, as they're competing with one another. Those are 2 different species of francolin following each other around. And it's almost like they're complaining at one another that they've come across each other. And this is the sound that they make. Even if they see a leopard, they'll squawk like this one is, and they fly up onto a branch and they shout like this. So it could just be a sort of territorial spat, these guys. And that's why the impalas are looking. They're thinking, well, these guys are making a noise. Maybe something's moving around, and having a little look and seeing what's going on. But interesting nonetheless. Let's go and check where you thought you had, Seb, just to make sure that we're not missing out, because there is a pan behind me. Yes. I'm so sorry that I drove towards you. You'll survive, I promise. Synergy, you say they remind you of quails? Yes, they are very similar. Very similar bloodline, actually. But these guys are slightly larger than what quails are. A slightly bigger bird. Okay, Seb, you just tell me when you heard it, or where you think you heard it.
Like over there.
Like on the top, okay, near the mud wallows. Okay. Let's go and have a little look there. I'm quite interested to know who this leopard is that crossed over, but I would imagine it's either Tingi or Tandi. Those would be my 2 kind of guesses from now, but I wonder why those impalas were so nervous. It would be so nice if little Hosanna made an appearance here, wouldn't it? Right, now we're going to try and get ourselves into a position where Seb thought he heard those alarm calls and try and figure it out. And while we do that, let's send you across to Rusty, who's also searching.
Well, I wish Tristan all the luck. I hope he does. He did say at the beginning of the drive here that he is the Leopard Whisperer, and I do believe it, because we went through a stage where it was unbelievable the amount of leopards he was getting in a week. But I'm sure he will. We are on pursuit of we got to head back to the Nkumas and see if they are moved about at all. But the lions aren't that far away from where Tristan is. And sorry, I'm just hearing information coming through on radio. Tristan has found something, which is quite exciting. Okay, so we're going to head to the Nkuhumas and see if they moved. It is got very cool. The temperature's dropped drastically, which is nice for us. I've stopped sweating. Craig has actually got a smile on his face. So yes, we are all good about that. So we're just going to see if the lions have not moved. If they have moved, they're going to head down to that watering hole close to where they are and hopefully pick them up. Thank you. I'm sure in the next hour or so, tonight they're not far from our border and they're going to probably disappear. But I'm hoping that as we arrive there, they will be moving about. Yeah. Well, sorry, there's a lot of voices in my head. I can hear Tristan in the background. Okay. Yeah, it's quite exciting. I wish I could just put the feed through to you of what's happening on the radio right now. Mrs. Zero, are the European rollers leaving for Europe right now? Is that the question? European rollers, a beautiful bird. We've got a couple of different species of them here. The European one is a migratory. Are birds from Europe coming to South Africa? That is the opposite way around. Okay, it's not the European roller, but no. European birds right now will be moving from us up to Europe, not from Europe down to us. So we're going into the winter where there's less food and less insects around, and to the harshest time of the year, which we have. So a lot of the birds move out and move to Europe. We have the white stork that I saw yesterday. We have the European roller. There's actually, I think we've got about 80 something different, even more than that, different species of migratory birds, not only to Europe, but all around. You get the Palearctic, the altitudinal migrants that just go to the higher ground. So yes, as far as I'm aware, we don't have, I could be wrong, completely, totally wrong, we don't have any that come in winter, but no, I'm ready to take in information on that. Just send in your questions or your answers about that. So, I haven't actually seen any of the rollers recently. The lilac-breasted, I did see the other day, but sorry, I just went back to rollers. This is actually quite an interesting point. I have not seen many rollers around. I did see them at the beginning of the season, but not many. So I'm sure the migratory routes are jam-packed with birds moving back up north. There's a fresh smell of there's always a indication of unless, yeah. I was going to say what I was going to say. It's gorgeous evenings again where the sun just sets and you get that relief of coolness. There is a slight breeze, but it is cold. I am a big fan of not the cold, so I'm quite happy that it is cooled down. But tomorrow morning's a new day and the sun is always coming back. Yeah. But we are getting closer to the area. It is a bit of a drive. And I am hoping they're still going to be there. I'm just trying to think how many times I've seen these lions, and it's actually not that often. And it's actually the first time I've seen them. And it's the first time I have seen them this up close and personal in a very long time. So I actually want to spend more time with them and actually get to know them. A lot of you viewers may know them off by heart and almost can tell them by ID through their paw pads. I am still learning each one. That has colored eyes. I haven't seen those eyes, so I'm still interested in seeing that. So by spending time, as much time as you all have, this is my chance, especially if they're all lying out in the open, which they still are. So they're still flat cat, but it is our chance to spend some more time with them. We're going to let you go over back to Tristan while we set up here and see if he's caught up with the leopard.
Well, don't worry, Rusty. All in good time. I'm pretty sure you'll learn the lines pretty quickly. They, funny enough, once you have a few kind of IDing features, they actually become quite easy to recognize, particularly the older females. The younger ones, not so much, but the older ones for sure. Rusty, stop squeaking. Anyway, but Rusty will eventually... the other Rusty, not this Rusty. So I'm not saying Rusty must stop squeaking about the lions. I'm talking about this Rusty, the car. This is going to get very confusing in time. But this Rusty must stop squeaking, and the other Rusty must not worry about the Nkuhumas. He'll learn them fairly quickly. There's been many of you that have helped us so much with getting ID kits together and being able to recognize them. And so I'm pretty sure with a few weeks and a few sightings, he'll get it right. Now, I know the Nkuhumas are somewhere close to where I am now. So I'm in all likelihood going to go right past them, but there's a reason why we're going to go right past them, because we've got a spotted cat to go and look at. And so if they're sitting somewhere here, I'm just trying to go slowly because I don't want to drive over a lion tail or something. That'll be a bit awkward. You can see lots of vehicle tracks all over here, so I suspect that somewhere in this general vicinity is where they're lying. Yeah, Charles, I'm just north of the dam now. Oh, there's a bump. Okay, Seb, you've got to watch out for lions that I don't drive over one. Because the reason why we're going to go quite quickly is because we're trying to get to this cat that's at Twin Dams, and I'm worried that it might go back south into Little Gowrie. You never know, so it's good to just try and kind of get there as quick as possible, and try and see if we can at least spend some time. Also, the bush on both sides of Twin Dams is not very friendly for following any animals. Somehow we've driven past a whole pride of lions and not even noticed them. It's quite something. Interesting. No lions here. There's too many people talking in my ear, so we're just going to turn the others off now that we're joining the sighting. No, Rusty, stop it. Don't know why when you push the accelerator it gets this annoying squeak that starts to develop as soon as you lift your foot. Rusty should just drive Rusty to prevent confusion. That's probably a good idea. There the lions are. Hello, lions. You're right next to where the leopard is. Lovely. That's delightful. Hello, Rusty. Hello, lions. Goodbye, lions. Goodbye, Rusty. Here we go. We're going to go and try and see if we can find where this leopard is. Now, hopefully this leopard doesn't walk into these lions, because that's not going to be pleasant at all for the leopard. And it's also going to make it a bit difficult in terms of all of the sort of cars. Now I'm just trying to see where the leopard is. It's obviously mobile. You see anything, Seb? Oh, there it is. Right there. Is it Clamber? It'd be very interesting if it is Clamber, because she came out a Little Gowrie, and those tracks that we had were from today, which means she's walked all day long. But I hope that it's not her going to walk into these lions. If it's Tundi, I'm not too worried, because Tundi will be very aware of what's going on. Oh no, please don't go across. It looks like little Clamber, eh? She's moved a lot today. Where have you been and why have you been walking around so much? She's obviously just been going up and down the Mulwati, but there you can see her just kind of creeping along. What are you doing all the way down here when your tracks are at Hyena Road? Very intriguing that she's moved this far. Like I say, she definitely drank there today, so it must have been this morning, and she's just walked all day long. But it's her for sure that's walking around. You can see her tail's up, just so that she doesn't get shouted at and too many alarm calls. And she's going to have to be careful, because those lions are, I would say, maybe 150 meters to her west at the moment. And if she makes too much noise or gets too much traction in terms of impalas shouting at her or something like that, she's going to have a very big problem, and those lions will come after her and probably try and investigate what's going on. But she's looking pretty, isn't she? Long legs. As is often the case with young leopards like this, they do get these kind of long-legged features, and then she's going to kind of disappear up that path. Now, it's quite tricky to follow around here, so we'll try and let these guys go. We're going to try and see if we can negotiate it up there. It's all eroded and quite tricky to actually kind of get through. So we're going to try and see. Clamber, you're on a little mission, aren't you? Luckily, she's chosen a fairly nice place to walk, so it should be fairly easy for us to be able to just punch straight up here. There we go. That's fairly easy, eh, Seb? So what follows is what's going to be a bit more tricky. And we're going to stop here, and we'll allow the other vehicles to go past at some point. I do apologize if you can hear ice clanging around. It's because we have a little kind of flask with ice in it to have cold water, but making a bit of a noise. But she's on a serious mission. If she's been walking around like this all day, it's no wonder that she's looking quite sort of skinny and in need of a meal. But unless there's another female that's walking around with very small paws, which I suppose is also possible, all the way on the northern side, it seems as though little Clamber's been on a serious mission today, but where she's heading is going to be quite tricky for the other vehicles. Now the guys are waiting for me to move, apparently, because Vicky, it's okay now. She's put quite a lot of distance now between her and the lions, so she's done quite well now, but she does need to be careful. Lions are obviously something that listen and pay attention, and when they hear alarm calls, they know that there can be a chance that there's maybe food involved, and so they'll often then start to kind of think about moving in that direction. Now she's heading... This is going to be tricky, or interesting, should I say. How's that, Seb? Have we done all right? Good stuff. We survived. Indeed we did. What's she chasing? She's chasing something. Franklin's. Naughty girl. Too slow, unfortunately, though. She was chasing a Franklin, and she, unfortunately, was way too slow to get anywhere near it. Now, I'm trying to find a gap through here. There should be a gap that I followed Tingana and Hukamuri once before through. There it is. It's a nice little kind of gap between the Tamburtis. Careful your eyes, Seb, on both sides. No man, Tamburti, don't grab onto the bull bar. Right, so there we go. Whew. This is an exercise, a workout to get through here. But at least she's going. She's taking us the nicest route we could ever imagine. Because she's taking us pretty much straight the way that we can cross this drainage, which is very, very pleasant. Good. Now I'm going to try and kind of keep up with her as she goes across this drainage, where it's going to get a little tricky. In the meantime, though, let's send you back across to Rusty and then Coolmers.
Well, we had a bit of an exciting time. As we were sitting here watching the lions, just to the left of us, about 80 meters away, we saw Clamber. The lions that were lucky enough did not notice her at all, because she would have been in big trouble. But Tristan came past and followed her, and we just watched the lions. They didn't even blink an eye. I don't think they even saw her from this distance. They're quite lower down to where she was walking, But with the lions on the left and the leopard on the right, leopard on the left and lions on the right, it is quite an experience for us, and it's quite nice to see. But luckily, I don't think she knew, I'm pretty sure she knew where they were, but the lions had no clue, because she either would have been chased or stalked by one of them if she had come any closer, or if they would have spotted her. So since we first saw them this afternoon, they were very relaxed and tucked up in the shade. But now the sun has set, they are starting to groom each other. Now, this is part of the bonding stage with all lions within the pride. Doesn't matter what age they are, there will be mutual grooming with each other. So it is part of how they get along with each other. And it goes through hierarchies, but you get young males, young females grooming each other. This is a sign of respect, sign of bonding. But they are rolling and moving and cleaning and stretching. So I'm pretty sure in the next half an hour, they're going to or in the next 5 minutes, might get up and move down to the watering hole, which is not far from here. As you can see, this is the one that's got the scar on the back of the leg that I'm sure if you saw a few weeks ago, we had an update on how the healing process of that scar went, of that wound. And she is doing very well. Yes, she is a bit scrawny. It might hamper her a little bit, but I think it's just she is one of the older females, and it just might be age catching up with her. But like I said, she's just gone in for a bit of a clean of the ear where she can't reach with her own tongue. And they seem to be one of the other females has got up and moved off. So I think we will be following down to the watering hole as we speak. Yep. They're keeping an eye on Mom. They're deciding she's going off on her own, but these two seem to, there's a stretch. She's disappearing. Another one stretching. I don't know who to watch. Nope. Scratch, stretch. Kind of like how most of us are in the morning as we get out of bed. But I can't see myself licking myself. That's just gross. None of my business. Yes, you've obviously followed her a lot longer than I have. I did see footage of her when she did have the wound on her, and she has come a long way. She's healed very nicely, and a very strong pride that's been able to look after her. So yes, she's done very well for herself. Okay, we are going to be following them down because they're all getting up and starting to stretch. Yep, the pride is on the move, and so am I. Yep. Okay. It is not at this time like we did expect it, because it is, like I said, it's cooled off. They're going to go down to drink, and I'm pretty sure once they've had a good sniff around, a bit of quench their thirst, they will then they'll move off, lie down for a bit longer, and then they move off on a hunt. They are heading towards one of the borders here where we cannot cross, so I'm hoping they're going to stay around the pan here. Oh, this is so cool though. I love it. They may not be running or chasing anything, but it is still very nice to interact with them in this way. Magic Dragon, I agree with you. So really, I do agree with you. It is really, really pretty and beautiful, and it's such a good feeling being able to do this and be able to share this with you all. Okay, I'm just going to go around. I don't know which way can I drive down here? Okay, we got to just see if we can get down here and see if we can pick them up in the watering hole. Obviously, yes, being predators, doesn't mean they are top of the food chain. There were 7, 8, 9 of them, like we counted this afternoon, and hopefully they were all lying together. That's what's that? Sorry, we're just trying to find the best location where I'm not going to disturb them, but at least get a nice visual for you to see as well. Yeah. Now, they are just as wary. You don't trust any water in South Africa. Or you do trust water, but I'm just talking about anything in the wild here. You do get crocodiles moving around quite a bit. There may be no crocodiles in this dam for many years, but then one day it might just pitch up. Crocodiles do travel over land, over great distances, especially at night, just in search of water and better feeding grounds. So there are actually cases of lions being taken by crocodiles, so it's not unheard of. So yes, being risky, of course you have to pay attention to everything that moves about in the water. But it's such a beautiful sight. I still can't believe we had the lions on one side and Clamber on the other side. Joy, was I able to watch lions on horseback? Yes, I did. We do actively seek out lions on horseback. By doing that, we completely changed the whole behavior of how lions saw the horses. So there's not a lot of prey animals that seeked out lions. So by us going on horseback, by seeking them out, it really confused them to the point that we could actually approach them. And because they didn't realize we had two sets of eyes, we had the horse's eyes and our eyes. And if they tried to stalk us, we could see them on top of the horse coming around us. While the horse, being at the eye level of the horse, they didn't see the lions. They can't see the lions. So of course, if we can see them, we turn the horse towards the lion. And then the lion will generally back off. Because it's all confused about, I don't know what is going on there. I think it's more of submissive play. It's been given that, do not do that again. So yeah, it's just a playful interaction there. So yes, horses and lions, they can go together if you give the lions a bit more space. Excellent. Oh, it's such good news. We have cats on Juma today. We are going to head over to Tristan, who has Clamber.
Indeed, we do. We do have a cat on Juma. We also have a beautiful, beautiful sunset. You can see these magical colors that are kind of all over the sky, and then perfectly placed on a little termite mound. Finally, she's gone stationary as the little princess, but she's been on a serious mission this afternoon. She's walking seriously quickly, and I wonder if it's not because she's quite hungry. I think she's looking for food. She's been pouncing at literally everything and anything that has been moving, and so she's been doing a lot of kind of walking and going along and trying to kind of find food. Now, of course, she's going to cross where there's a vehicle, so I'm just going to reposition for poor Seb. He doesn't want to put that car on camera, so sorry, Seb. It's just that was the best view for us in terms of where she was sitting on the mound itself. So we'll just try and get ahead of everybody and try and basically figure out a way that we can get a view of her once again. But she really is being a busy little body today. As you can see her kind of just moving off to my right, and it's amazing how quickly she kind of disappears in this grass. It's going to be tricky to follow her this evening. We're going to definitely have to kind of keep our wits about us if we're going to try and follow her for any sort of length of time. And she's going to come kind of towards there and through. But you can see she's not exactly going slowly. She's taking after her dad and her mom in the way that she is walking. She is, like I say, straight out of her mom's playbook in how fast she's walking. Right, let's catch up, Seb, otherwise we're going to lose her fairly quickly. Problem with this area is there's just so many stumps and fallen over trees and long grass and ditches and holes, and you've got to be very careful about the way that you drive. hope she's going to go on to this next termite mound, because there's a really nice mound here, and she's been kind of going from sort of place to place in order to get a bit of height to see what's going on. So it seems like she might, although no, she's bypassed the mound completely. She's moving just so quickly. Clamber, what's going on, girl? Seb, am I right there? Ow. Out of here. Let's now plug myself back in again. Otherwise I'm not going to hear anything that Murray has to say. Ooh, that radio is on fire today. I did have a good chuckle just now. And so did Seb. I tried to get hold of some of the guys on the other side of the boundary to let them know that the Nkuhumas were on their way kind of southwards towards the boundary, and that they should maybe have a look in the next 15 to 20 minutes. And then I got told by one of the stations that he'll update me when he gets there, and to which my response was, I don't need to be updated. I kind of know where they are, and I'm giving you the update. So it was quite funny for an exchange of words, but he obviously thought that I was from a different part of the reserve and that I didn't have traverse on this side. But anyway, that's the way it goes sometimes. But little Clamber, you can see how she's sniffing around everywhere. I think she's looking much like what we had the other morning, where she followed and eventually found that duiker and pounced on it. I think she's doing the same thing, as she's just trying to sniff around, trying to get literally anywhere that she can in order to try and find some semblance of food in these thickets. So that's why she's probably walking a lot more in these grassy areas, is that she knows this is great places to find things like scrub hares and duikers and the likes. Ooh, please go on that mound. Please go on that mound. So, no, I don't copy Murray at all. Okay. Right. Well, we're going to send you off to the Nkuhumas while we try and catch up with little Miss Clamber.
Well, the lions have quenched their thirst. I was hoping for them to lounge about near the watering hole, but I think the tummies are rumbling and they are moving off. We are not going to follow them because they are disappearing into a place I cannot go with them. But I feel very privileged to be able to spend the time I did with them, and I hope you've all enjoyed it as well. Slowly but surely I'm getting to know one or two, individually, by their marks, or if they've got different scars and all that. But it was a very special sighting. I think it's all of them that have gone past. I'm not too sure if there's the odd one still hanging behind. But they are very spread out, and I'm pretty sure in the next couple of hours they will hopefully have a successful hunt and fill those bellies. Magic Dragon Wizard, are they going in the same direction as Clamber? No, they are not. That's a good news for all of us. But they're going that way, and Clamber went that way. So it'll be fine. I think she's out of harm's way, and I don't think anything's going to happen. But we'll let that be. Okay. We are going to go chase the sunset and let the lions be. Just want to make sure, just want to do a loop around to see if there's any others still staying at the watering hole. Sometimes there might be a straggler. There's always somebody in the family that stays behind. Nope, they've all gone. But that was amazing. That was absolutely incredible for me. I don't remember the last time I spent that much time with the lions and get to know this pride especially. I've heard so much about them from everyone, and being able to share that and actually slowly but surely get to know the individuals of the pride. But they almost did it on cue, and I said, okay, maybe half an hour, and then 2 minutes later they just jumped up and just started walking away. But that was a beautiful, beautiful sighting. Mina Moo, what age does the pride kick a young male lion out? That's about 1.5 years, roughly, especially if there's more than one in the pride. Sometimes it's 2 years, depending on the pride dynamics, but it's usually about. You find any territorial male, 19 months, then you'll find any territorial males, come back to one of the females. If the youngsters don't move out very quickly on their own, then the males will chase them. So it does vary from pride to pride and area to area, and how much influence or problem, because I know in some cases with some lions, their sons, you'll even have them hanging around for even longer than 2 years. But as soon as they become sexual mature or start even a slightest bit of challenge, they better get out of there, because doesn't matter how related they are to that male or the males, they will not be so welcoming next time. So yeah, male lions after a certain time do move off and find their own territories if they can. If the territories are... Laura, how many lions were there? I counted 9. Is that correct, Craig? Or were there more? 9. What's that? I'm sure I counted 9. There was 6, 7 lions. 6, 7, 8. There was 9. Pretty sure there was 9. I can double check that, but I'm pretty sure there was 9. There was, yes. I'm pretty happy with them. That pride, I know there's a few individuals that are missing, because apparently that pride is up to 11, but I only counted 9 there. I'm not too sure where the others are or who exactly is not there. If anyone does know, please let me know. You can type it in the comment section on either YouTube channel or whatever you're watching this on. So yeah, we can both teach each other a few things about the characters on here. But it's very exciting. It's getting to that time of the evening where the cats are more active, but also the nocturnal creatures are starting to... Like my favorite, the owls, the jets. Lauren, if you all know Lauren, that is up at the Mara, she's another presenter up there, but she sent me a message today saying, wow, we have Rusty the vehicle, we have Rusty the guide, and now we have Rusty Janet. I don't know how Janet... How are you all doing? Good. Friendly people. I'm not too sure where this Janet came from. I think it might be a regular in camp. If you do know what a Janet looks like, yeah, if you all know what a Janet looks like, is a small cat, slightly long, with it's almost got the same markings as a leopard in color-wise, but obviously a lot smaller, and they are nocturnal. But it must be hanging around the Mara camp, because for it to be named, it must have been seen more than once on a few occasions. But I just found that funny how there's 3 Rusties now appearing around the area. Okay, we'll let you back over to Tristan, who's got Clamber.
Well, we had a leopard very briefly there, but you can see it's so thick in here that following her is near impossible at the moment. I honestly think I might leave her shortly on. I think we're going to get one last little glimpse of her just walking through the grass, and then I'm going to leave her alone. And the reason why is very simple, is that we are only disturbing her if she's hungry and she's hunting, and following her through this is just making her life more difficult. And we're not doing her any favors, and certainly not doing the car any favors. I mean, I've lost her already. She was right here, so there she is. She's straight ahead of us. Through this bush, you can just see her tail. I don't know where she's heading. She's heading deeper into this thicket, and like I say, I mean, she can just see slight movement behind there. And all we're going to do is just disturb this leopard more and more and more. And so if she's hungry and she's hunting, for me, it seems like a better option just to let her do her thing, not crash around in here, and certainly not spoil her chances. So, Seb, what do you think? Yeah, Seb agrees. So, Seb, if our cameraman is happy, I'm happy to leave her to herself, then I think that's going to be a good thing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the brief views that we got of her. I mean, you can see it's just impossible inside here to really follow her with any sort of... No, I mean, all we're doing is mowing down trees and making her life more difficult. I can see her moving off there, and she's just going deeper into this, so... Whew. Not very friendly, that's for sure. Just trying to see which way is going to be our best. I think, Seb, if we go this way. Pig Rider, how old is Clamber? Well, Clamber was born somewhere between the last week of October and the first kind of 2 weeks of, well, first week and a bit of November. And so that makes her what now? In the year 2017, that's right. So that makes her a year and 5 months, so 17 months old now. Is that right? Is our maths right, Seb? Well, together collectively we'll get it right. But so she's at the age now where she should start dispersing from Tundi. She's much older than what little Tumba had to deal with. Tundi left Tumba when he was only about 15 months, so I say much older, but in a short lifespan, 2 months is a lot. So she's lucky that in a way she's still being somewhat looked after by the signs of the tracks by Tundi, but she's definitely kind of spending more and more time on her own and adventuring and going places. But I'm very surprised that she came out of Little Gowrie today. Those tracks that we had were from today for sure. The mud, like I say, hadn't dried at all, and so it must have been this morning, and she must have just been walking all day long, which is interesting. This is horrible to drive in. Just don't know if there's a hole anywhere because you can't see anything with the grass. Sanctity of the road, Seb. Eek. That was rough inside there for a little bit, but like I say, it's no point with her hunting to disturb her like that, so I think it's just better to leave her alone. Right, so there we go. Whew. So Janet, I've just told all the other vehicles that she's hunting and it's an impossibly thick area and that I don't advise anyone to come here. And so basically we've closed the sighting for her to carry on her own. So there was only one other vehicle that was on her way here. The rest decided to leave when I told them where we were. And so it's now, she's completely by herself now and can carry on with her night and do her thing. And we'll try and see if we can find her tomorrow again and see if maybe she was successful. At least we roughly know where she is. So we have our drone session tomorrow, Seb. So you know where to fly around to maybe have a little look out for her and see if we get lucky and find her and whether or not she's managed to get herself a kill. But whew, she's moving quickly though. I mean, she was on this mound just now and she's already gone all the way through that block to where we came out. So she's not slowing down at all, which means that I think she's feeling very hungry because everywhere she goes, any little bush, she's looking and listening and twitching, and she's pounced on all kinds of things and missed. And so I think it's good that she has some alone time to do her stuff. And it's not like we haven't had a shortage of Clamber time over the last few weeks. We've really been spoiled with her in the last, I'd say, probably 2 months since Hosana's left. It was almost as though they did a little swap out. They high-fived each other on the boundaries, and then off they went. And so Hosana was like, while I'm away, you need to take care of business and make sure that we are well entertained by Leopard. And so little Clamber has done that very, very admirably and has really kind of fitted in and given us some fantastic quality sightings over the course of the last few weeks. So I don't feel too bad leaving her to do her thing and allowing her to kind of have some alone time, even though she's, I suppose, been a bit elusive over the last couple of days, a little bit more elusive than normal. Right, now unfortunately the lions, as Rusty mentioned earlier, went complete opposite direction, and they went south down into Little Gowrie, and so poor Rusty has had to leave them, forcibly leave them, but he also is not going to know that I'm linking to him because, Murray, you've just told me that you're linking to, so you need to tell Rusty before I actually complete this link. Otherwise, Rusty's going to be caught with his proverbial pants down, and we don't want that at all. So once you've let him know, let me know, and then I'll actually link across properly to Rusty, and so that he doesn't get caught short. It's always a bit tricky when you don't know that you're live. There we go. So he's going to let Rusty know, and then, like I say, we'll be able to link to him and let Rusty know that he's about to have an incoming audience where all of you are about to jump onto his vehicle. We're surprised the lions moved as much as they did in the heat today. It's quite intriguing that they've moved as much. I thought they would have just lay at this waterhole for most of the day, but maybe the water wasn't great and not enough space for all of them to drink, and so that's why they started slowly heading southwards towards Little Gowrie. Right, now Rusty does know that you are coming to him, so let's send you across so that he can let you know exactly where the lines crossed and what his plans are for the rest of the evening.
Okay, it's been an interesting conversation really, but this was absolutely amazing. The quality time I got to spend with those lions, we got to spend with those lions, is incredible. Although they were flat cats, I was hoping that they were still going to be there when we got back to them, and they were, and literally within minutes of being there, they got up and we followed them down to the watering hole. It's almost like I predicted it, but no, I don't even know what lions. You can kind of like guess what lions are going to do at that time of the day, especially when they've been parked up in the shade all day. But I do hope they get a meal tonight or the next few days. They're all looking a bit thin around the edges. They're looking fit, let's put it that way. So I don't have any doubt they will find something in the next few days. But hopefully it's going to be a big, juicy buffalo for them. So yes, it's just, I can't get over them. But anyway, we will hope for something else. I'm sorry that we lost Clamber, but hopefully she will appear later. I know she's been in and out of thick bush recently, but I'm glad the lions went one direction and she went the other. And I still can't believe that we had them all lying down and the leopard completely on the different side, but all within eyesight of us. It was nice. We were at the right place, right time. Although, I don't know if you were there earlier, but while we were watching that, Craig heard the Franklin going off, and obviously, an hour later, Tristan comes along and finds a leopard there, but apparently she just walked into the drainage line as he arrived, so I don't think it was the leopard. I think it might have been something else, but it could have been. Who knows? The tracks I did follow up on were definitely lion. So yes, it's just that time of the evening where I don't have any on me, but we're just gonna cruise around and see what we can find. We did have, it was really funny, although I did feel sorry for it. We weren't going to show you. We were going to show you, then we thought better of it because this little chap was shivering. I think it's because of the lion's activity around there. But we found a baby hare. It was literally about that size, and it was curled up on the side of the road and shivering. It wasn't far from the lions, where the lions were working. So I think it was just hiding there and just watching these massive cats go past, thinking it's just, if I move 1 inch, it'll just be dinner. So it was just shivering next to the road, and we thought a second about, okay, maybe we can capture it, just not capture it, but capture it on camera and show you. But it was just shivering so much, I just couldn't face it, and both Greg and myself agreed to leave it alone and just let it relax and carry on with the night, because they are at the bottom of the food chain here, and they're very vulnerable at that age. Although if you just saw the colouring of it, I've got this colouring that like blends into the ground. If they just freeze and flatten their ears and they bunch up and they disappear if you don't see it. We just saw it move, but it like ran off the road and hid on the side of the road and just started shivering. So we thought, okay, no, we can't. We'll leave it be. The poor chap. It has to survive another night at least. But there is so many hares around here, and they feed a variety of species of animal. And where I used to work before, we have a lot of jackal up that side, but hardly any hares. And coming here, they don't have a lot of jackal, but they have a lot of hares. So it actually goes to show how much of a balance it needs. Because I know in certain places of the world you get that mesomatosis, if I'm saying that right, that actually hares, rabbits, rock hyrax, if you don't know what a rock hyrax is, it's a brown animal that you see on the rocks. And so, yes, they live on the rocky outcrop, so they also get this disease that wipes out the entire family. So, guess what? Okay, I'll cut short that, but yes, this disease is horrible, and it normally comes on when there's a high population of rabbits or hares. So I have not seen it here. I did find a mesomatosis in Mozambique, where I used to work, in the central part, where they wiped out all the hyrax there. You can still see the stain of urine on the rocks, but no dusties anymore, rock hyrax. Dusties are another name for them. So it's actually quite a horrible disease, but I know in Australia, they have a problem with it, which is fine because it is a problem animal and it wipes them out. But yeah, it's a different story. Well, we have some good news. David is back on, and he has got elephants for you in the Mara.
Well, it's true. I mean, some of these rabbits and hares will get some infections, but not elephants. I do not remember the last time I saw a sick elephant. And well, welcome back to Asia, me and Manu, because we were off here for some time, and the rains were beating us a little bit. We did not want to take any chances with the camera equipment, so we had to power down. And we brought our flaps down, but now all looks good. And of course, it's rather dark here, and I'm sure you all know we are always 1 hour ahead of South Africa, and that's why you see this is not the usual color of elephants that you see. We are already in infrared, pretty special camera that have some invisible light for these animals, making sure that we do not affect their behavior. And you can tell, like that elephant got 2 different colors. One is because of the rains that have been going on, and that's why he got 2 different tones of color. It's the same elephants we saw earlier, but now they look black and white. Again, it's because of what I said, we are in infrared at the moment. Pretty close from where we are on the road. And I was just telling Manu a few minutes ago, this could be marking the onset of the long rains in Kenya. I mean, I've been observing the clouds for the last few days, and I'm not sure you heard that elephant trumpeting, and the very high temperatures we have been having, and also it has been rather humid for the last few days. To me, all those are signs of the long rains. See that like painted elephant with having different colors there? Just that tells you the amount of rain that has been falling on it. Fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. It has been wonderful to have you from the Mara Triangle. And on behalf of myself and Manu, we'll take you back to South Africa, Tristan, maybe for the final last minutes. Goodbye from the beautiful Mara.
Indeed, you are down with us, and we've managed to spot our favorite little nocturnal creatures. We are using a light at the moment because otherwise it would be impossible for any of you to really pick it up with the infrared. I hope you can see it right in the middle of the screen. Its tail is sticking out with a little curl, and then it's got its kind of eyes facing towards us and is sitting quite kind of dead still in amongst the green leaves, and it makes it very tricky to see it. It's quite far away at the moment. I mean, it's probably, I would say, we can't get any closer because of there's a huge tree stump in our way, so that's why we're not using an infrared, and we wanted to show you. So that's our view that we've got, and that's how we managed to spot it, which I feel like we've done a good job today, Seb. This was a good spot that we managed to kind of capture. They can be quite tricky to find at this time of the day because it's not quite dark just yet, and so they haven't sort of lost that ability to see their surroundings, and they're still kind of trying to kind of get themselves, well, they're still very well camouflaged, so it was very lucky that we managed to actually spot it, and to see it in this kind of light is not easy. And so the reason why we're using a spotlight is because of just how far it is, makes it really tricky for you guys to be able to see it in infrared. We tried with infrared and it was literally just basically a blob in amongst the leaves. But you can see how that tail works, long prehensile tail that just helps with balance when moving around. See it often being wrapped around branches, and then their ability to kind of come out onto the edges and balance off there and then wait for unsuspecting prey to come past that they can shoot out and eat. It's been really nice actually that we've had quite a few chameleons of late. In fact, the last few nights I've seen them pretty much every time. But it is that time, unfortunately, where we need to say goodbye to all of you. Hopefully you enjoyed it. It was a bit of something for everyone, from butterflies and chameleons to leopards and lions and the beauty of the Maasai Mara. So from David, myself and Rusty, all the cam-ups, and Murray in final control, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you tomorrow morning on our drone session, so a little bit earlier.